Well, greetings and welcome to today's Fireside Chat on cybersecurity, information technology, and the massive demand for talent that is going on in this field. I am Matt Caparel. I'm Executive Director of the Career Development Center at the University of New Haven, and I am honored to be joined today by Roland Cloutier, from the Chief Security Officer at TikTok, one of the world's most popular and successful social media platforms. Roland, welcome.
Matt, thanks for having us today.
Absolutely. So I have several topics I wanted to cover with you today about cybersecurity as a growing and in-demand career field to inform students and other aspiring professionals about the field and what it takes to make this a long-term and successful career. So I thought to get started, we could talk about you first, right? So most people here, I think, know what TikTok is and are familiar, probably have it on their phones and probably are half on it right now while we're talking. But tell us a little bit about your personal journey to, getting into this field and how you became Chief Security Officer for TikTok.
Yeah, you know what? It's certainly been an interesting career with a lot of twists and turns. I was a professional dancer. No, just kidding. I wasn't. Actually, I started out in the military in critical infrastructure defense and aerospace defense, which brought me into federal law enforcement. And then, there was a time in my career where everything had some sort of technology component to, we were working on, investigations into diversion crimes or frauds or what have you. And it was critical that, I actually knew what I was doing with regards to technology. So I went back to school, and took a focus on cyber and MIS, and came out and dipped my toe into the dark world of computing and just fell in love with how it worked and the massive capabilities and issues out there that I got to solve every day. It's such a diverse work field. And then somehow over, defending multinational companies over the last 20 years or so, I got selected for the best job in the world, protecting the last sunniest corner of the internet. I'm on this path for growing an amazing security, risk, and privacy operations group around the world. And I tell you, it's a heck of a job with protecting the fastest growing company in the world.
Yeah, that's very interesting, especially that federal background where we see a lot of demand in that field as well, especially at the federal agencies. So you just kind of mentioned it. You have a massive amount of users, right? Over 1 billion monthly active users, and you're responsible for their security on your platform. So what's that like?
I don't sleep a lot. It's interesting. First of all, it's great to be the chief security officer of a company where safety and security is the top priority of TikTok. I mean, if you think about companies you go into and, security is a G&A function that's important for their go-to-market or, for the regulatory compliance. Here, it's everything. The trust of our community and the trust of the jurisdictions we operate is paramount to our business. And that level of accountability is carried through all aspects of the company. And I get to be a part of that. And so it really does all come down to people. I mean, if you think about people being the foundation of any organization, here security is a team sport. I mean, we have not just a global security organization, we have our partners in InfoSec, we have our partners in IT, we have our partners in the corporate privacy and legal organizations, and on and on. They all have, their parts in what we do. And we have to grow this team at the speed that the platform is growing. Think about that, at the speed of the fastest growing technology media platform ever in the world history. And we have to do that around 19 different disciplines in security, risk, and privacy as a converged security area. And so we have to create this culture of security. It's not just about educating our employees. It's about ingraining them into their accountability and their responsibilities. I mean, we've done some really cool things like, develop video games to educate our employees, non-cyber employees, on cybersecurity to get them involved and understand it better. We've done some really cool things on TikTok videos. Yes, I've done TikTok videos, believe it or not. I was kidding about the dancing before, but I'm not kidding about doing TikTok videos. We have a cool Mission Possible series where, I get to ham it up a little bit and showcase our disciplines, around the world to all the different, folks in our company, that get them engaged and see how different parts of the security program actually work. And then recently had my leadership team for our yearly leadership education program up in New England. And we spent the day over at IBM Cyber Range. So all of these things, cross-functionally, internally and externally, are part of that important mechanism to grow our cyber defensive and protection programs as fast as the platform.
No, that's pretty interesting. When I heard about the 1 billion monthly users, I mean, that's just an incredible number, and figure that cybersecurity has to permeate the entire organization, really, right? Because it's the biggest thing that you're doing there on the platform. So, with that much activity, you mentioned growing this team at that same pace. You must have a big team that works on cybersecurity, and from what I see, you have 300 plus open positions in this field. So, what do you look for in aspiring, students or just professionals who want to join this field? What's important to you and important to TikTok as profile and background?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a great question. I do get that asked a lot, and there's such a diversity in the type of talent pool from what we would call, college hires or university freshers coming into the program, all the way up to senior leaders. And bottom line, we're really looking for the best talent to protect the platform, in our millions or billions of users across the globe. I think one of the core things we look for are people with passion for solving hard problems and that think differently, right? So, these areas, around risk management, there's cyber defensive operations. They're problems that are created through different ways, and you have to kind of think differently in order to help solve them. It's not like, oh, that happened, pull this out. You have to understand why it happened and the root cause analysis, and then how to change your entire approach to it potentially. So I think that's one of them. And I think the other area is, you have to, in this idea of liking to solve hard problems. So, for instance, if you're interested in cybersecurity, and you better like competing, understanding video games and how to work through them. If you like being mission centric, like you don't like bad guys, right? Like you have a natural inner thing to stop bad things from happening. Cyber is a place for you. If you get up every day and say, I can't wait to see what I have to fix today, cyber is a place for you, right? Like you're never going to have the same day twice. It's not a boring environment, and it's difficult because new challenges come at you every day. But that forces you to stay on that curve, like be upfront, reading, understanding, testing yourself, taking new courses, new lessons, new certifications on something you haven't learned before, day in and day out. Those are super important. I like to say, if you're mission centric and you'd like to save the world one TikTok, at a time, this is a good place for you to be.
Oh, that's pretty fun. It's interesting that, when I asked that question, you go to some of the softer competencies, right? The thinking differently, the solving problems, being mission centric, things that we tell our students every day are really the long-term keys to success in an organization. So if I can follow up with that, then what are some of the backgrounds you might look for? Is it hard technical skills with those competencies, or do you take from different backgrounds and majors and bring them in and then teach them? So how does it work for TikTok?
So it really depends on the disciplinary area. Remember, we have 19 different disciplines here under our security, risk, and privacy programs, and those are from people that need hard engineering operations, technical understanding of the entire aspects of the stack, from hardware through software and everywhere in between, to analysts. A lot of people that know how to understand the technical information that's coming at that, turn that into a product, if you will, to understand what is happening, and then be able to manage actions coming out of it with other technical people. So we need analysts. We need people that understand risk and how to measure risk, and go deep into understanding root cause analysis and prioritizing risks, appropriately for our organization, so we can attack, that alligator that's closest to the boat, if you will. What are the most urgent priorities that we have to focus on to protect, our platform and users? We need people with law enforcement backgrounds, potentially, people that understand how fraud, financial crimes, and these type of issues work around the globe, and be able to integrate with our partners in government and law enforcement to make sure that we're investigating and removing those problems from our environment. And we need people through different disciplines that know how to problem solve. And whether that's in IT directly, or maybe it's in finance, that have a good understanding of connectivity between business operations, because at the end of the day, we're business operations protection program. So a lot of different skills. But listen, if you're in cyber, the core of a information systems, information security, cyber program should always be the basis of how you start your career.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. And that's a good transition then to think about, like, from where you sit, right? And talking to, say, my students who, may have an interest in building a cyber career. What's some advice you have for people who are just starting out? Like, what should they get involved with? What should they know? What should they do?
There's so many opportunities for technical and non-technical professionals in this space. First and foremost, find something you like to do. That adage that I'm sure all the professors have said, at some point, if you find something you like to do, then you don't work a day in your life. It's true. I get up every morning excited to go find out what I have to solve today. And I've been doing this for a long time, because every day my job changes, and it's super exciting. What's your passion? What do you want to do? So explore and build those diverse skill sets needed to do that. If it is cyber, do you have the right coding skills? Do you understand networking? Have you done that from a practical standpoint through Practorium in labs and things of those environments? If you have an opportunity, find a mentor that's in that space. I mean, I have such incredible thankfulness and great memories of mentors through my entire career, of that put me on the right path, of helped me understand things, have made me focus in the right areas. So finding a mentor is a great part of starting your career. And then I think finding a good fit for you. Listen, not every company is for you. Like, I had to stop hard and fast and think, like, would I be successful in TikTok? Right? I'm a former military guy. I'm a former law enforcement officer. I've done critical infrastructure defense in hundreds of countries around the globe. I'm going to TikTok. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought of what it meant to all of those citizens from around the world on that platform, and how critical it was, and the focus and the energy that this company had, I said, this is a good fit for me. I'm kind of a high energy guy, and it's nice to have a company that can keep up with me. And so, you have to figure that out and make sure it's the right level of diversity you're looking for. And that there's, inclusive hiring for the type of individual you are in that process. So I think those are all things to consider.
That's great to hear. As career advisors, that's what we really push with our students, is that intersection of, who you are and how, what you want to get out of your work, and finding an organization that matches and fits up. So I think that's really great advice to provide along. So I want to ask one last question about TikTok itself. October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we're coming to the end of that month here, and you are a security guy down to the core, it sounds like. So what's TikTok been up to this month and as a whole to promote and ensure cybersecurity?
Yeah, so huge year, obviously, in several different ways, both in our company, in the industry, and on the platform. First of all, we launched Be Cyber Smart, hashtag Be Cyber Smart. If you go out there, you can actually see our campaign that was really championed by the National Cybersecurity Alliance, or the NCSA. And so what we're doing is we're having professionals actually put out tips and things on how to educate people on how to be cyber smart. We're also helping people push forward on this concept. If you see something, say something. In the physical world, that's really great advice that we've been following for a long time. Well, here on the cyber side, it's the same thing, and we need to follow that same principle as it applies to the digital world. We also committed to uplifting the next generation of leaders. So over 3 million cybersecurity jobs were left vacant in 2020 alone. So we continue to hire leaders around the globe in our 3 critical area, or our 3 centers of excellence in the United States, in Europe, and Singapore. I could probably go on and on, but the reality is our work doesn't end with October. Fraud Awareness Week is in November. We have Privacy Awareness Week in January. Our focus is to work with influencers in the fraud space to continue helping people be cyber smart. Holiday season is around the corner, so we're going to be doing online shopping tips on platform throughout the industry. And by the way, if you like doing this, you're on TikTok, and any of the the listeners want to create content to educate people on what they've learned through their career or education, use hashtag Be Cyber Smart.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you're right. Cybersecurity is every time you log in, right? It's a year-round, constant process. So that's really wonderful, and appreciate that information. So, Roland, I want to thank you so much for your time and sharing this really valuable information to us and to our students and other aspiring cyber career professionals around the country, around the globe. Really appreciate your time. And so I do have one last question. I know you were joking at the beginning, but I have a feeling that there's a Roland dancing TikTok somewhere out there, right?
Well, maybe not dancing, but I love dad jokes because they insanely torture our children, and which is part of my right as a parent. And the second part is you can get a lot of funny things across and people understand it. So yeah, I've made a couple out there around phishing jokes, and that's PHISH, and things of that nature. So yeah, keep your eye open for our videos as they continue to come out.
All right, that's wonderful. I appreciate it. And I understand the dad jokes. It's one of my favorite things to do with the kids as well. So I appreciate it. So thanks again, Roland. I think one thing we've seen, right, especially over the last 10 years or so, is cybersecurity is both a growing academic field, right? Here at the University of New Haven, we have a very strong and growing cybersecurity program. And then we're seeing it as a major need globally as a career field as well. And I think what we're seeing is in the past where cybersecurity may have found tech professionals, now we see tech professionals going to find cybersecurity. And so I think that's a great trend for the future. So I encourage anyone out there who's interested in education to check out University of New Haven. And if you're looking for a job in this field, check out careers.tiktok.com. And Roland, thanks again.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.